G'day guys. This one is about stamping. Now, I'm not a great stamper. I have never been a great stamper. I have very minimal stamping implements, but I think what I am doing is I'm teaching myself how to do it better. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. First of all, there's different tools that different people use. I am not in any way endorsing this particular stamping platform because I cannot get it to work to save myself. Every single time it doesn't work. So, but there are stamping platforms out there that you can get that are, I believe there's Misty's, Ranger has one, there's loads of them, but a stamping platform similar to this where you put your card in and some of them have magnets. I just use a piece of tape usually. You put it down and then you attach your stamp on there and then you pick it up, you ink it, and then you can re-ink it. So that's what a stamping platform is used for. This one is used for a doorstop because I can't get it to work. That's just me. I can't. But I'm not giving up. I will never give up on a craft supply or a craft item that I think I will like if I give it a red hot crack. So never give up. I will find a platform that works. Now, the ink that I like to stamp and fussy cut, etc., I love the VersaFine ink because it gives you a nice fine line. I know there's other ones out there. Catherine Pooler has one. Stampin' Up, there's a nice and fine. Let me think of the other ones. There's VersaFine Claire. They're clear and they're fine, the same as this product. It's the same brand. I usually do black and then color the inside. That's usually how I use my stamps. So I have a stack of different stamping blocks. I still need one that's slightly larger. I thought that I have these little itty bitty mini ones that, to be completely honest, I've never used. And I do need one slightly bigger than this. I am in the hunt for it. So let me know below where I can get me slightly larger one. This one is, if I'm telling you sizes, it is supposedly 6 inches long and it's 2 inches wide. So, but anyway, I digress. Your stamping block makes a difference because that's what you attach your cling stamp to. There are many different stamps. Like I said, I'm not professing to know everything. I'm just letting you know that I like the photopolymer. You can get two different sorts of stamps, right? Well, that's all I've found that I use. There's probably more. This is your photopolymer, your clear stamp. And then you've got your rubber stamp. So these ones are from Darkroom Door, Australian company. Absolutely love it. And they have the cling to them. So it hangs onto your stamp block. That's it. Nobody told me that years ago. And I actually was like putting Velcro on there. I had no idea because no one tells you these simple little things. And these guys just stick exactly the same way. They just cling to the product. So that's just a mark making stamp set that I got. Mini Marks it's called. It's still available if you're looking for it. Now, this is just an El Cheapo floral stamp that I picked up. And the reason I've only got this particular, cheaper ones is because I've never really stamped. I always thought stamping was more for card making and I don't make cards. So I steered clear of it. Well, I'm discovering that I actually enjoy stamping. When you get it right, it's actually fun. So I want to show you a couple of things. You can stamp. I'm going to show you some examples that I've actually done on layouts. When I move these out of the way because we don't need those. So some examples of why would you want to purchase stamps for scrapbooking. Okay, here's a classic example. So if you are like me and you don't buy packets of ephemera, but you like things like butterflies, buy yourself a butterfly stamp. Then you can create your own butterflies. You can ink them, you can color them, you can do them whatever you like. You can add your bling, and look at that. You've got yourself a 3-dimensional, it's stamped, and you've just fussy cut it. It's a really basic, really simple shape. It's not difficult, and it gives you your own ephemera, your own embellishment. It's really cute. Now, another idea, this was me right at the very beginning of starting to go, okay, I'm going to play with these stamps, see what happens. These were, I fussy cut all of these, and these were stamps that, I'll bring it in closer so you can see. So the stamps are actually, I think it was 3 colors I put on each stamp, and they worked so well. I absolutely loved them. Those little clear drops you can see, that's just what's it called? Glossy accents. So you can fussy cut and create your own ephemera for next to nothing. If you get the correct scissors, simple stamps, and you give yourself leeway and time to practice, because it takes practice. I actually find fussy cutting now quite cathartic, actually. I really relax when I do it now, which is really good. This is actually a layout coming up this week. I decided to stamp all the way through the center, and I used a masking technique, this is the first time I've really done a proper masking technique, and I think it turned out pretty good with all those stamps through the center. And they were just done with my cheapy stamp, like they're not anything special, and I used my VersaFine ink. So that's how I got my beautiful florals through the center. This one is when I did, this was me really trying. I was going all out. I wanted to try and use, I'll say it's a cheap set. It was a set from Spotlight, and it was on sale, and I picked it up, and I had never used it, and I decided that I would stamp but all the way around and sort of create a bit of a wreath setup for my kookaburra. So yeah, I absolutely love how that turned out. And yeah, I mean, if you want to see the Queen of Stamps, you really need to go and check out Natasha Foote. She creates cards, and she's not a scrapbooker, she's a card maker, but I tell you what, she's got tips and tricks that I'm still learning and still trying to get my head around it, but she just makes it look so easy every time. It's amazing. Now, this is where I was sort of starting to go, okay, let's see how far I can push the stamp boundaries. So I put a bit of texture paste through the center. I did a couple of stamps over the top of my Montmartre watercolor paint. Like, it's not expensive. It wasn't Distress ink or anything. It is on Vicky Bouton Foundations paper, so it didn't warp and go crazy on me. And I stamped around the outside edge. And that was a single stamp, by the way. It's not a long one. It was a single one. And I just went all the way around going, variegating how far in and out I was putting it. And it worked a treat. I love it. I think it turned out really pretty. So that one was good. And this was my real stamp. This is when I got real. I bought these stamps ages ago from Kaiser Craft, and they were marked down, and they were like $2 checkout bin, and I grabbed them, and I'd never used them, and I went to town the other day using them on here, and I absolutely love how it turned out. So even if you're like me and you're not a stamper, with a little bit of practice, and I mean a little bit of practice, not much, that's not a lot of practice, you too can create stuff like this. But before this video ends, I want to show you how to fussy cut something so it turns out how you want it. Now, first things first, you need to get the right tool for the job. You cannot fussy cut with these, okay? You can try, you can give it a crack, but I'm just cutting it out roughly. Actually, I'll cut this one out. I like this one more, just because I can, you know. you can use these. I used these scissors for the longest time, and I had all sorts of trouble, and I could not fussy cut to save myself. I hated the look of it, and it didn't work, and I was very disheartened by it. I then purchased the We Are. These ones are really good. They're nice and sharp. They're excellent. The reason I don't use those ones is because I have really bad arthritis in my hands, and they make my hands ache super quickly. However, Mr. Tim Holtz bought these out with Ranger. They have flexible handles. They have a slight serration on one side, which gives you control so you can stop when you want to stop. And this is how, when you're fussy cutting, right, you need to cut away the excess. So see all that excess? I should probably zoom in a little bit. Hang on, I'll zoom in ever so slightly. Hopefully this is not going to make you nauseous, and hopefully I can stay in shot. So cut off all the excess, right? So you don't have extra cardstock pulling down. Okay, so you start off with that. So you start with that, and then you go to that. Okay, then then you hold your scissors and you only move just the cut file. What you're trying to turn into a cut file. You just move the flower. Now, you're not going to be perfect every single time. You're not going to be perfect first flower out of the bunch. But don't worry, because when you put them all down on your layout, guess what? You won't notice it. You really won't. And I think we're all just way too hard on ourselves when it comes to this sort of thing. You can do this from, you might purchase a smaller paper stack of a collection. You might buy a 12 by 12 collection, and then you might buy the mini pad because you want to use the smaller bits and pieces in it and have smaller florals or smaller leaves. This is a way of doing it and saving yourself some coin. You can buy the ephemera packs. I have bought them, but I don't buy them often unless they're pretty much all florals. I don't like to scrapbook with just stick and plonking stuff down. I prefer to, quite honestly, I'd rather it be something like a botanical, so leaves or something like that. And that, my friend, is how you fussy cut. Did you notice I didn't move this hand? This hand stayed fast. It wasn't moving. It was very, very minimal movement, and all the movement was in this hand. That is how you get something fussy cut. It's not perfect. Look, there's not perfect. There's not perfect. But you know what? That just cost me next to nothing. And I can now curl up the edges like this, and I can add that onto my page, and then I can put some bling in the center of it, and bam, I've got myself a nice flower. Okay, so don't give up on fussy cutting. I know it seems difficult. It really does seem difficult, but you can do it. I believe in you. You can do this. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be back with another one real soon. Bye for now.